Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another video. What we're going to do today is we're going to be looking at our 2026 Florida State Seminoles football team. We're going to break down their entire 2025 schedule. We're going to go game by game. We're going to analyze the matchups, look at the rosters, look at the offense, the defense, and try to predict the outcome for every single game. Who's going to win, who's going to lose, what the final score might be, and we'll try to be seeing what is going to be the final record for this Seminoles college football team. We know last season, obviously, they had massive expectations coming in the last season. They did not live up to the expectations. Obviously, they went 2-10. The worst season, the worst outcome possible happened last year, but that means the only place to go is up from here. A lot of pressure on Mike Norvell. This is the season. It is put up or shut up. He's been working the portal hard. He's been recruiting. He's bringing in a lot of new pieces here. Will those pieces gel together? Does it set the expectations? Can they achieve those expectations? First things first, though, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any comments, by all means, drop them below. What are your opinions on the team this season? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? What do you think their final record is going to be? Make sure to let me know down in the comments. I will make sure that I respond to every single comment. If you want to sign up for one of our member teams, we do have 3 tiers. Look at the pinned comment down below. You can sign up there, and I would definitely appreciate it. For you guys that have signed up, major shout out for you guys. I love you guys. Much appreciated, most definitely. So with this Florida State team, we know last season, obviously the year before last year, they went undefeated during the regular season. And then, of course, they lost their quarterback. They had a bunch of players sit out the bowl game. Things didn't quite work out the way that it was supposed to. A lot of off the field stuff going on to keep them out of the college football playoff. They came into this past season with massive expectations. Norvell working the portal, bringing in great recruiting classes, bringing in great transfer portal classes, actually looking at the transfer portal more than the recruiting side, and it massively backfired last season. DJU, complete waste of space. It is what it is. I never thought the guy was good. He was not accurate. He could not read the field. He took the longest to make a decision of what to do. Completely set this team back last season. They were supposed to have a great front seven. They were supposed to have a great running game. They were not successful in either of those, but I actually do think they had a pretty decent secondary last season. Defense wasn't bad. What held this team back was the offensive side. Norvell, he heard the whispers. He heard the news. He came into this season with a new focus. Get back to running his style of football, concentrate on recruiting more, but yet still use the transfer portal to complement some of the pieces you have on the team. This season, obviously, Castellanos coming over from Boston College, more of a dual threat quarterback, might be more of the type of quarterback that Mike Norvell actually wants on his roster. He's not going to throw for 400 or 500 yards in one game, but he might throw for 250 on a really good day, but he might throw for the season about 25 to 3,000 yards. He might run for 700 to 1,000 yards, but he's going to extend plays with his legs, but still keeping his eye down the field, and he might really work with some play action because they're going to have a much better run game. Looking at their wide receiver core, Robinson, Blackwell, White, Boggs, a lot of weapons there. The running game, you cannot win in the big leagues if you cannot just line up and run it down people. So especially to close games out, run the clock out. You're going to have Roydell Williams. You're going to have Cam Davis. You have Castellanos, who's also going to help with the run game, obviously, because he could potentially run for 1,000 yards. That's a very real possibility. He's ran for 900 before. He's more than capable of doing it. And you have Gus Malzahn coming over, leaving the head coaching position at UCF. He's now the offensive coordinator. We all know Gus, one of the better offensive minds in college football for the last 1 to 2 decades. You know, he's going to bring a spread offense. They're going to be up-tempo, but they are going to be balanced, but they are mainly still going to focus on the run game. Probably about 55 to 45% running being the majority favorite there. Looking at the defense, you are bringing in Tony White over from Nebraska. You know Nebraska football. You know Matt Rule. They're going to be physical. They want to win the game at the line of scrimmage, at the point of attack, in the trenches. He's going to remake this defense. That defensive line will be much improved over last season. Their secondary is going to play well. As long as their secondary can do what they do in the backfield, that's going to let that front seven pin their ears back, come after quarterbacks, look for sacks to go up, tackles for a loss, quarterback pressures. That's what they want to do. Simplify the defense, get after the quarterback, cause chaos. So with our Florida State team, we obviously have to bank everything that we're looking at here versus what are the Vegas preseason odds. Right now, Vegas is predicting Florida State to come in at 7.5 wins. That's the target measure there. We are going to be basing everything that we do going forward off of, will they achieve the expectations preseason? Some people might say, well, 8-4, yes, that would be going over 7.5, but that's not a good enough season. but it is. When you won 2 games last season, anything over 2, 3 and above is an improvement. You can't come in here with 3 wins, though. Mike Norvell will get fired if he has another awful season. That will not happen, though. The talent on this team should at least get you a bowl game. 7-5, it's respectable, but it really puts Norvell on the hot seat. 8-4, though, that's the measure. That lets you know with Castellanos leaving next season, with the new quarterbacks taking over, Brock Glenn, guys like that, at least you have some momentum. If you go 8-4 this season, that sets you up potentially for 9-3, 10-2 next season. So you just need that momentum. You're not going to make the playoffs this season. Just kind of get that out of your eyes. You just want a building block season going forward. Let's not waste any more time, though. Let's start looking at these games. Let's try to see what Florida State's going to do for the season. They start out the season, guys. This is an awful one. This is about as difficult of an opening game as it can be, but Florida State is not afraid to play anyone. Saturday, August 30th, week 1, opening up the season versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. Yes, this is not Nick Saban's squad, but still, there's a massive talent gap here. Obviously, Alabama, top 5 overall roster. You have Kalen DeBoer, needs to take some steps forward from last season. They won 9 games last year. He wants to make the playoffs this season. That's their standard for a successful season, is at least making the final 12, making the playoffs. They're going to have Simpson probably taking over at the quarterback position. They have Grubbs coming back over as the offense coordinator. They are going to be a vertical deep threat passing game. With Jalen Milroe leaving, look for Kalen DeBoer to go back to what he does best, downfield, vertical, aggressive passing game. They will excel at that. They have the playmakers. They have the team that they can do that. Their defense has to get a lot better. They did not have a Nick Saban-esque defense last year, and they were giving up a lot of yards, a lot of points. They have to get more competitive at the line of scrimmage. This is going to be Simpson's first game starting, very first game versus Florida State. That's why this game could potentially be close the entire first half. Castellanos, he's played in big games before. He's a dual threat quarterback. He's going to get his yards, especially on 3rd and short. Look for his legs to take over. I do think Alabama's going to pull away second half, but I think Florida State's going to keep it close first half. This is 2 quarterbacks, new schemes, new systems, but one's an experienced veteran. One, this is going to be his first start, but I'm going to favor Alabama overall to pull away second half, guys. Do not cause a hissy fit for losing to Alabama. You are obviously going to lose this game. They will be heavy favorites. You just want it to be respectable. You want to learn from this game so you can still turn the season into a successful season. Look for Alabama to win this one. I'm going to say it's probably going to be like a 30-21 game, and Florida State starts out 0-1. And even though you lost that first game, you can use some of the things that you learned from that to help you as you get further down the stretch, especially in ACC conference play. The very next game, Saturday, September 6th, versus the East Texas A&M. Obviously, this is going to be a team that Florida State is going to be heavy favorites here. Massive talent disparity. Look for them to learn from that first loss, start to iron out some kinks here. The offense will start to get oiled, start to get warmed up. You'll really see them explode this game. Plus, you'll get to see some of the backup second half. Florida State's going to win this game. I have them winning it big, 48-14, and they're now 1-1. And coming off that loss, you have a couple good cupcake games here. Florida State's really going to start to flex its muscles. Saturday, September 20th versus Kent State. This is a team, I don't think they won a game last year. The year before last year, they went 1-11. They may be the worst team in college football. Florida State, they're going to beat the ever-living crap out of them. It's going to be a curb stomping. Look for Florida State to win this game big. That's what I want to see, is them come out here, bludgeon this team, beat them into the dirt, show the other teams still on your schedule what you're capable of. Once you get warmed up, Florida State wins this game. They win it big, 58-7. And they're 2-1. Then we have some ACC play Friday, September 26th at Virginia Cavaliers. This is a team 5-7 last season. They use that as a building block going forward. This is a conference game. Once you start conference play, especially the first game, the very first game starting out in your conference, sometimes it's a very close game because this is the first true match you've had on Division I Power 4 football. That's not going to be the state for Florida case because a lot of these teams are playing cupcakes their first couple games. Florida State starts out with Alabama. They've already been in a slugfest. They've been punched. They know what they can do when they're down. They know what they need to do to get back up. That's the more important thing. This game's going to be close first half. Florida State's going to pull away. They're going to own the late third, fourth quarter. Look for them to win this one 34-24, and they're 3-1 now, coming up to one of the biggest games of their season. Obviously, you have Saturday, October 4th versus the Miami Hurricanes. This game is going to be huge. Florida State, there's an outside shot that they're ranked here. Miami probably will be ranked, but a lot of this game is going to hinge on what happens in Miami's first game. Do they beat Notre Dame? Do they lose to Notre Dame? What's the momentum coming into this game, especially right after the Florida game for them? They could have dropped both those games. They could have 2 losses at this point. Yes, they're out of conference losses, but that would take a lot of momentum from them. But if they beat Notre Dame, if they beat Florida, they are going to be coming into this game riding high. You obviously have Carson Beck transferring over. He might be a first-round quarterback. Don't forget, last season, he was projected as the number 1 overall pick. Yes, he didn't have the best year last year, but do not forget where people were predicting him prior to last season. It shows you the talent is there. He's in a much favorable scheme. Shannon Dawson calling plays. Miami has Heatherman. Obviously, Miami's defense last season was completely atrocious. They can't get any worse. They are going to be better. They're going to be a downhill, aggressive, attacking defense. Miami, I would say, probably has the edge talent-wise, but it's a close one. This is 2 Florida teams. Both these teams loaded with high 3, 4s, 5 stars, a lot of talent, and it's a rivalry game. Whenever rivalries happen, take the records, throw them out the window. They mean nothing. I'm not saying that I'm necessarily sold on Mario Cristobal as the answer, but Carson Beck versus Thomas Castellanos. I'm sorry, guys. I got to go with Carson Beck here. Give me Miami winning this one, but it's a lot closer than last season. They win it 28-21. Florida State's 3-2. And staying in conference play Saturday, October 11th versus the Pittsburgh Panthers. This is Pat Narduzzi's team. You never want to sleep on them. You never know what you're going to get. The first half of last season, they had the number 1 passing offense in college football. They were throwing for 350, 400 yards every single game. Second half, they completely fell apart because injuries started to pile up. People started to adapt to their scheme. But Narduzzi showed he's willing to adapt. He went to a pass-happy vertical passing attack last season. Narduzzi's team, you usually know they're physical, they're disciplined. Sometimes they have a great defense, sometimes they don't. But he is a defensive-minded coach here. With his offense, with his defensive scheme, you don't know what you're going to take with the Panthers. So you have to expect the unexpected this game. If you sleep on Pittsburgh, they will upset you. If you take them serious, you are more than capable of beating this game. I have Florida State winning this one, but I do think it's going to be close. They win it 34-28. They're 4-2 using the building block, and you continue to carry that momentum second half. And if I'm in the ACC conference and I had to play one conference game, this next team is the team that I would want to play. They're the worst team in the ACC. They might be one of the worst teams. Well, they probably are the worst team in the Power 4 right now. Saturday, October 18th at Stanford. What really sucks for Florida State, they're all the way on the East Coast in the South. They have to completely fly all the way across the country to play at Stanford in California. They're going to be jet lagged. They're going to be tired. Florida State's probably going to be bringing in their B game here, but their B game is 10 times better than Stanford. No offense to you Cardinal fans. You went 3-9 last season. Welcome to the big leagues. If you want to call the ACC the big leagues, it is what it is. Stanford was not prepared. They laid an egg last season. Florida State's going to beat the crap out of them. I have Florida State winning this one 37-20, and they're 5-2. Things are looking pretty good right now. And then Saturday, November 1st versus Wake Forest. This is Wake Forest. Don't forget, back when they have Sam Hartman, this was a competitive offense. They were actually a under-the-radar team under Dave Clawson to potentially make a run at the ACC championship. Those days are probably over. They went 4-8 last season. They don't have a good offense. They don't have a good defense. They don't have that steam here. With Florida State starting to roll right now, coming out of that Stanford win, with them coming all the way back to the East, Florida State's going to roll through this game. I have them winning this one, really showing what the offense is capable of. Winning this game on the ground, with the ground game in the trenches. Florida State wins it 38-17, 6-2. There's an outside chance here they might even be in the top 25 now. And unfortunately for them, they have to go up against the team who is favored as of right now to win the ACC by Vegas. Saturday, November 8th at Clemson, Death Valley. Very difficult place to play. Very difficult team to play. Probably going to be a top 10, might be a top 5 team here. You have Dabo. He's won on the biggest stages. You have Clay Kubnik, one of the most experienced quarterbacks returning in all of college football this season, coming off of his best offensive season, year 3 under Garrett Riley. This offense is going to be rolling. Very talented young wide receiver core. They're going to have a defense. They have Allen calling plays. They're going to be a great overall team, top 10 overall roster, and that front 7 is going to be extremely aggressive. Clemson here, they're looking at the ACC game, looking at the playoffs, so Florida State might be able to catch them off guard, but Dabo knows better. He's played great Florida State teams before. Even with this new team here coming off of a 2-win season, Dabo is not going to take this game lightly. Clemson comes in here. They win this one at home. I have them winning it 42-17. 24. They win it handily. Florida State, do not be disheartened here. Clemson is the much better team at this point. You are using this year as a bridge, as a building block. That's not the case for Clemson. So two teams in different spots. Just make sure you finish the season hot. That's all you have to do right now. They're 6-3. And then Virginia Tech, they had a lot of hype last season. They did not live up to it, especially coming out the gate. Game one, they laid an egg. That's going to be the opponent here. Saturday, November 15th versus Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, when they're home, Blacksburg at night, blackout. Very competitive team because of the atmosphere on the road here. Coming off this loss for Clemson, Mike Norvell has to make sure he rallies the wagons, gets everyone mindset back on track. This is when you need the veterans, when you need the Castellanos guys to really step up, lead this team, because you're down the stretch. Don't forget, the mark, the goal, 7.5 wins. You were 6-3 right now. Close this game out. I have Florida State winning this one and getting things back on track, but a little bit of a closer game. 27-23. They are 7-3, a half game from their goal. And the next game, an under-the-radar competitive one, Friday, November 21st, our second to last game versus the NC State Wolfpack. Never sleep on Dave Doran's team. He's usually a very aggressive coach, hard-nosed, disciplined coach, wants to win the game in the trenches. But NC State last season started out the year top 25. Vegas predicted them at 9 wins last year. They definitely did not do that. They're going to have new coordinators, new coordinator on offense, new coordinator on defense. They do return some starters, but a lot of their best players transferred out. They're not going to have the momentum here. But if Florida State gets caught losing at the next week, which is obviously the biggest game potentially of their season, they might drop this one. I don't think it's going to happen. Mike Norvell, he knows what he's doing enough here to get his 8th win. I have Florida State winning this one 31-24, and Florida State right now is 8-3. The mark, 7.5 wins. They are 8-3, might be ranked after this week. They hit their mark. They surpassed it, and now they have the biggest game coming up next. Saturday, November 29th at Florida in Gainesville, the Florida Gators, extremely difficult team. This is one of Florida State's biggest rivals. When this game happens, just like the Miami game, take the records of both squads, throw them out the window. They mean absolutely nothing here. This game is going to be competitive. It's going to be a crazy game, but so much of what happens this game depends on what happened throughout the season. We don't know those variables yet. DJ Lagway, he's been banged up the offseason. He's fully healthy right now. What's his health status here? He could play 6 games, get hurt. He can play 10 games, get hurt. Will he be playing for Florida at the end of the season? If not, good for Florida State. If he is, Florida State's going to have to take this team very serious. This is Billy Napier. He's been on the hot seat now for 2 or 3 seasons. He's had the most difficult schedules I've ever seen in my life. Is Florida State bowl eligible here? Are they 7 wins, 8 wins? Are they making a run for the SEC, potentially for the playoffs here? There's a lot of unknowns because the outcomes up to this point could be so many different ways for both of these squads. No matter what, if we take the teams as they are right now, let's say there's no unknown injuries that have happened because we obviously can't foresee those. I'm going to take DJ Lagway here. Florida State sitting about the same record, 7-8 wins. Both of these teams just fighting for pride, for in-state rivalry pride. I'm going to take DJ Lagway and the Florida Gators having the edge, winning a very close, hard-fought game, 31-28. A potential missed field goal is what decides this game, but it is a one-possession game for sure. Florida State finishes the regular season 8-4. Some of the Florida State fans might be a little disappointed there, but you got to remember, you won 2 games last year. I've heard some people say they're not going to lose a game this season. They're going to go 10-2. They're going to make the playoffs. That's all great if that happens. The odds of that happening, I don't think are very low. We do have to be realistic, call things like they are. I think 8-4 is surpassing what Vegas is predicting you to win. That's a successful season. Props to you. 8-4 right now sets you up for 9-10 wins next season, but you want to set that foundation this year in 2025. Guys, that's our predictions for the 2025 Florida State Seminoles football team. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any comments, do you agree with me, disagree with me? What are your thoughts on their season? Let me know down below, and I will make sure that I respond to every single comment. If you want to sign up for one of our member tiers, look down at the pinned comment down below. There's 3 tiers in total. I would definitely appreciate it for anyone who does sign up. And of course, thank you, as always, for watching.